Hey everybody, welcome to Example of Play. In this video, I'm going to be giving you my first thoughts and a little tour of Endless Legend 2. This is one I'm really excited to play. I was lucky enough to get sent a preview version of the game. It lets you play around with a couple of the races, play a 125 turn match, which is more than enough to get the flavor of this game and try out a lot of the mechanics and see what it's going to have to offer. I'm not going to do a whole lot of gameplay in this video. It's going to be more of just kind of touring through the game and showing you what's here. And then I'll probably play another game. This was kind of a learning round for me, so it's a little messy, but I'll try to play another match and do a video later on that. But let's go ahead and just dive into this and see what is here in Endless Legend 2. Alright, so what has me so excited about Endless Legend 2? Should probably recap the first game, Endless Legend, real quick if you're not familiar with it. It's a 4X, so like in the vein of something like a Civilization. But what made it so different and novel was that in Endless Legend, the different factions you could play as, they weren't just slightly different flavors of the same thing. They were, each one was truly unique, almost to an asymmetric level where depending on which faction you were playing kind of a different game. So like in a Civilization, for example, you've got like the Americans, the Germans, the Chinese, British, and the difference between each one is not that much. There's some aesthetic differences. Each one gets one or two unique units, a couple unique buildings, and then maybe some kind of bonus. And in some cases, some of the civilizations might play differently. But for the most part, you're kind of playing the same game no matter which one you're playing. You have kind of the same goals, and a lot of the strategies are the same, and you might just tweak your strategy based on kind of what your civilization specializes in. In Endless Legend, it was taken to the 10th degree of each faction. There weren't as many factions, but each faction was totally different and had unique mechanics. They played differently. The way you built things and spread around the world was different. The resources and things you were trying to get were different. It was just each civilization you played as was each faction you played as was kind of its own game in a way, much more so than like Civilization or other games like that. And you actually saw after Endless Legend came out that a lot of other franchises kind of didn't totally go that far, but in a lot of ways kind of pulled from that flavoring, that way of making things feel more special and unique. And then the other thing Endless Legend did was that went along with that was each faction also had a much richer lore and history to it. So they were really interesting. They weren't just like different colors and a little different cosmetic differences. They had like their own stories, their own motivations, which was at the time kind of novel for a 4X game. You weren't just playing this sort of like sandbox where, oh, let's throw these different civilizations in there. I'm picking on Civilization, but just it's easy one to pick on for this. You weren't just throwing all these different civilizations into a sandbox and just see what happens. Each one had their own story to tell. They had like things they were trying to do that tied into their mechanics and why they were the way they are, played into their story. So it made for a much richer kind of almost narrative experience. And Endless Legend 2 takes all of that and just cranks it up. It looks beautiful to start with. So Amplitude always has great UIs in their game that look really clean and crisp and very colorful. So you see lots of different colors and things. And then the world itself is looking beautiful. It's a little alien. So the setting is sort of like a sci-fi fantasy. So you get the best of both worlds. You've got kind of weird creatures. You've got high-tech stuff sometimes. You've got just alien foreign things. So it allows for a world that's very different, and you kind of never know what you're going to find around the next corner, but also pulls from like sci-fi and fantasy tropes, but everything's a little different everywhere you look. And then the other thing that immediately stands out to me with Endless Legend 2 is that this was kind of a learning game for me. I played to 81 turns, and so yeah, don't judge my cities that look a little messy because I was just kind of learning to play the game and figuring it out as I went. But what makes it a little different is that the way you collect resources, the way you build things, the way you expand is different for most other 4X games, which I'll do a little tour of the game here in a second once I get done yakking about it. But it just feels different than most 4X games. It's its own thing. So if you're looking for kind of a new, maybe not completely new, unique take on the genre, but just mixing it up, doing things a little differently than your standard 4X does, you should check out Endless Legend 2. So let's go ahead and like I said, in this video, I'm not gonna like play a bunch of turns. I'm just gonna kind of do a little tour around. Now that I've told you how great the game is, let's just kind of look at some of the systems, how it works, like what you're getting in the box here. And then I'll probably play it some more. I'm gonna play with the other faction. It's the much more alien and weird faction that's in the demo. And then I will do another video with it later, showing some more gameplay of just, you know, building stuff and moving around and fighting battles and things. All right, so we'll do just kind of a tour of the different systems. One more thing I should mention, the world that you're playing in. So this is very different and unique to this game. You're playing on a specific planet in the Endless universe, but it's one, I can't pronounce the name of it, but it's one where there's like a cycle of the world was covered in a bunch of oceans, but now they're receding, and so there's more land. So whenever you're playing, you can see down here, there's so many turns of kind of normal sunny days, and then there's a monsoon that goes on for so long and has set certain conditions for it. And then when that monsoon ends, there's a tidefall. And when the tidefall happens, so in this demo, there's one happens like really quick, and then the other one happens at the end. But when you're playing a full campaign, it would happen more times. But every time the tidefall happens, the water recedes and more land is revealed. So like when I started this match, I could only see maybe about this much of the map, maybe a little bit more. But after the first tidefall, the water went down, and you could basically see this next level of land down. So you see like this waterfall, all that wasn't there before. All this land here along the edge was underwater at the beginning, and like all of this over here was underwater. And so as the game goes on, you continuously explore throughout the whole game, so which I thought was really cool. You're not just, you can't explore everything at the beginning, even if you send a bunch of scouts out, because as the game goes on, there's more landmass to explore. And you can see here, like there's a red faction down here that I haven't encountered yet, but after the tidefall, this water is going to go away, and you can kind of see the land underneath it, and then I'll be able to cross over into that area. So very cool concept that as the game goes on, there's more territory. You know, you can't capture everything, you can't explore everything at the beginning, which is one of the funnest parts of any 4X, is kind of the exploring and building and that part of it. And so whenever you play this game, it actually, you get to do that through the whole campaign, because there's more and more territory appears over time that you then can explore and conquer and build stuff on. So you're kind of continuously doing that early game, that fun part of the early game happens throughout the whole campaign. So I thought that was a really cool innovation for this game, and it works because you're playing on this alien world where you can just kind of make up the rules for it. Okay, that's a big part of it, because that's a big part of this game is that's how the world acts. But we'll go around here and we'll look at, so this is our empire summary. We are the kin of Sheridan, so they look like humans. They are still, even though they're the most human looking faction that I've seen, they are still different in that they're kind of like space paladins, I guess would be one way to describe them. They have a very detailed story, so as you play the game, you'll kind of learn the story of your faction. You have like a big quest that you're doing, and then you get all these little side quests as you go. But they are like, they're spacefarers who got stranded on this planet, and then they have this person who was like their legendary leader who disappeared. And so a bunch of the characters, a bunch of the storyline is trying to find that person. Are they even still alive or still out there? There's sort of like a myth, a legend that ties into a lot of their motivations, which is cool. You look here, you have all these different traits that you've got that affect how the Empire acts, bonuses, negatives to different things. You get characters, so you have like heroes, and then also you have notable people, and they all have different bonuses. You can put them on your council, which over time you unlock more seats on your council, and so they can give you different bonuses. This Strength of Our Zeal is like their special thing that each faction is going to have some kind of different unique mechanic. So theirs is actually based on building up fortifications in your cities. So the more fortifications you build up, you get more of these like special powers you can use. So they unlock over time up here as you increase your fortification level. And these are like special abilities you can use that have like a cost and a cooldown, but can give you some pretty big bonuses. And then as you go, you get access to more of them. They also have these special units called the Chosen, who are like they're warriors who have been elevated into these like giant mech robot suits that are really powerful, but they're also important because some of your special abilities and things are kind of tied to their presence. And so like right now I can only have 2 of them, so they're a very special unit. And then if we go on down here, we have our victory conditions, this is kind of an incomplete version of the game still, so it's pretty straightforward on the victory conditions. But eventually you would have like a narrative victory by following your story, and there'd be a bunch more stuff here. But right now it's just going off of score and conquest because this is just the demo preview version. Quest journal. So right now I don't have any quests. I've done them all. I should have left a few on here before I started this. But as you go around the map, you'll get story quests like from your faction. You'll meet these minor factions that are spread across the different territories. And you can do little side quests for them to basically get them on your side or get different bonuses. So you're always right now I've cleared all my quests, but normally you have 2 or 3 at a time where you're got specific things they want you to go do. There's deeds, which are within each Tidefall. You can do special things here, meet whatever these requirements are to get a bonus. And then yeah, that's just a summary of our cities, camps. There's a military forces button there. It's not in the game yet. And then protectorates. Okay, so this is another cool part of the game. So you're playing as a certain faction, but as you explore the map, like I was saying, there's these little minor villages of other factions, of other like races that are totally alien and unique. And each one has special traits that they can give your empire. If you assimilate them or have them rolled into your empire, you can get additional units you can build, additional buildings you can build by bringing them in. So this screen, like you can eventually have 4 of them. Right now I only have 1. And so I have like this one that I've made friends with, but I can't pull them in yet. But basically, depending on what you do with them, they become part of your empire, and you can build their units and get some traits from them. And then also whenever you're looking at your city and managing it, they can appear in your city. And so the different species, different races add their citizens to your city, and then they can give you different bonuses. So like certain ones are good at different things, which yes, there's kind of a lot going on here. I'm not going to try to explain all of it, but because I don't 100% have a full grasp on it yet either myself. But looking at a city here, this is our capital. We have our different things. So we got food, how much industry, so how much we're building, the dust, which is like the money in all the endless games, research, and influence. And so kind of our 2 big primary resources are dust, which is like gold or money, and is used for lots of different things. And then influence, which influence is really interesting because you use it to expand your territory. So you can buy more hexes around your cities with influence. You can build new cities. You can build outposts with it. You can also do diplomatic things with it yet. I haven't actually met one of the other factions yet in this match, so I can't do the diplomacy yet, but eventually you can. But then there's also a bunch of other resources. So if we look here, you see all these other resources, and they are kind of hard to come by, especially in the early game here. There's luxury resources, which if you get those, they're kind of like boosters. You get enough of it accumulated, you can use them to get different effects. So on like your cities or on your units, they can give different bonuses, but you need to have access to them, get them. And then once you build a trade post, you can just buy them off the market too. But those prices go up and down depending on demand. And then you have strategic resources. And these you have to find like special places on the map and build a mine there. And these are very, very important. Like I build a mine, I'm only getting +1 per turn for this. So it's, yeah, pretty scarce resources. Or if you want to buy it, you can buy it. But of course, then that costs your dust. And you need those to build improvements and to improve your units, which I'll look at that here in a second too. All right, so yeah, let's look at some units here. Now I know I'm kind of rambling. There's just a lot in this game. It's very dense. It looks it feels simple at first, like it's a 4X game, but the more I played it, the more I realized, oh wow, there's a lot going on, a lot of interconnected mechanics and systems. So if we select one of our armies here, so whenever you start, you can have an army of up to 4 units grouped together, and then eventually it expands out to where you can have up to 6 over time. And if we look at an individual unit, so they can level up and get stronger through experience, but you can also specialize one. So this guy's like a legionary, like a basic unit, but there are actually 2 different paths you can upgrade it on to make it way stronger, to make it like into a different type of stronger version. So like you can choose defender or warden to start with. We can see like the defender gets a lot of health and armor. The warden gets a lot more health and gets different abilities of what it can do. So they get like special abilities, but to upgrade that, you need 10 glass steel or 10 of whatever the blue thing is, titanium. And right now I've built 1 glass steel mine, which only gives me +1 glass steel per turn. So it takes 10 turns worth of producing that or spending a bunch of money to buy it to upgrade this unit 1 tier. So that's a pretty big investment, but you do get special abilities. You make that unit unique, and then that only applies to that particular one. So you can make like 1 guy a warden, 1 guy a defender of these 2. So you could really later, as you get into the game, have a very tailored force to whatever your preference is, and much stronger than they started out as, which again is cool because like if you can keep that unit alive a long time, just like with the exploration extends through the whole game, you could have like a unit that's with you through most of the campaign that you get stronger and stronger as you go. And then some of them don't have, like some of them don't specialize or only have 1 path, but some of them do split off and have options. So you have like that to work with. And then in your cities, you can build, so along the bottom here is like kind of what we can do. So foundation is to expand our city. We spend influence to like buy another hex to expand it, which gets you resources depending on what that hex is. And then you can build districts, which are like buildings. So if we look at this one here, we've unlocked a whole bunch of stuff we can build. Kind of things you'll recognize, a farm, a works to increase your industrial output, a research place. So those are pretty straightforward, but once you've built them, you can specialize them with improvements. So then you can build things like turn your research place into like this geodesic dome, whatever that is, that gives you more science, or this one that gives you not as much science but increases how many population slots, so basically how many people you can have working as scribes, which depending on which races you have, you might have someone whose their population is really good at that and adds to it, so you could do that to add more slots here to put them in. And then also over time, as your population grows, kind of a cool mechanic of how it represents like unhappiness. So a lot of games, cities get bigger, they get unhappy. In this game, that can happen if you have more population than you have jobs for them to do. So you get like another category pops up here that's like destitute, and it's so your population that doesn't have a job. So you might need to build that specialized sector just to give some more jobs for your people to do, which is interesting. But to build those, you need, again, these strategic resources. So it costs 10 titanium to build that improvement. So again, a pretty big investment to improve things above the base level. And as you go through the game, you'll unlock, and you also have to research those improvements. There's like some technology you'll need. We need materials science to unlock even the option of upgrading with these improvements. So definitely you have to kind of think about what you're going for. You can't just willy-nilly pick stuff. You have to kind of commit and invest in things. If we go across here, so units, so we can build what units we can build here, and we can see like these guys are not default to our faction. We assimilated this one species in, these like kind of alien centaur guys, so we can build their unit now. Population, which we looked at, which different species have different bonuses for different things, so you can kind of rearrange here to get different outputs. And then this landscaping, which restores some of the land. I'm not sure exactly what that does, but you can do that. Now, as you go out into the world, the other thing that's kind of unique about Endless Legend is that the world is broken up into territories. So they're kind of like chunks of the map that are distinct. So you can see there's kind of like different biomes here, and those are the different territories. And we can see like each one has a name. So each one's just kind of like medium sized, and then within it, it's going to have one or two of these minor faction villages. I think they might each have 2 villages, and then each of those that you meet, you have to, some of them are unfriendly, you have to kind of pacify them, and you can pay them, you can bribe, like each one basically has a choice of, you can just attack them and defeat them directly, you can bribe them, or you can do like a little mini quest for them, to at least pacify them and make them not attack you anymore. So as you're exploring, if you explore too fast and don't pacify some of these hostile ones, you can end up with enemies running around, attacking you all the time. But you can make them your friends too. And then you can also find different kind of special resources, of course. Like here we have these spiral crabs. If we get that spot, it gives us 6 gold or 6 dust per turn for controlling that. So a useful place. But since I don't have control over this territory, I can't expand my city here into that territory. So to get there, you have to either build a city in that territory or build an outpost, which you can then either turn into a fully fledged city, or you can attach it to one of your cities. So like we could build an outpost here and attach it to that city, and which is what I've done here. And basically you make like this be one big connected territory, which all feeds into the main city. So that's kind of unique. So like in a just comparison again, like Civilization, you can just plop down a city anywhere you want, depending on the terrain of the map of, where it's advantageous to build one. Here, you're kind of forced to spread out. It's kind of balances the game in a way, where there's only so many resources and things in each territory, and you have to take control, which costs influence. So it kind of paces how fast you can expand, because you need influence to be able to establish control of more and more territory, and you're limited. You can only build one outpost per city. So it kind of paces you over time, and then it gives you kind of one chunk of the map at a time, basically. You can also find like these dungeons. So we might go attack this one just to show off combat here to finish the video. But these dungeons have like quest rewards, so you can get like some random items, you can get a bunch of influence for conquering them, but they're defended by usually a pretty tough, like a boss and some enemies there, which I attacked this one before and I kill everything but the boss. So maybe we'll send in one of our armies just to show off combat here, to round things out. Where is my force? We'll send these guys in. Maybe by themselves they can take the boss. Oh no, we need a hero in our army to be able to do that. Gotta find my other hero while I'm talking here. Okay, so this video's probably already gone on longer than I meant to, so let's round it out with just a few more things and then do like a little look at the combat. So if we come down here, there's diplomacy, which I haven't met any other factions yet, so I can't look at diplomacy. But maybe we'll get to that in the next video. And then the research tree. So as you go, you research different things. There's different tiers, and so you have to kind of do enough to get up to the next tier. And then it goes through 6, and of course the more advanced stuff as you go. Each level you go up though, you also get some improvements. So like your army expands to 5 slots from 4 by going to tier 2, and then you get units start with more experience, but also cost a little bit more. You get, for the faction I'm playing, you get another chosen, so one of their special units, and then it unlocks the archer unit. So like each tier you go up comes with some really important upgrades for your faction whenever you get to that level. And then each individual thing you research is going to be, there's different kind of categories, but each one's going to give you either like a new building you can build, a new improvement. Sometimes you get new actions you can take. There's really not a whole lot of like, there's not like plus 10% range damage kind of research. Everything here is pretty unique. Like each of these does something different and is important depending on what your strategy is. So just looking at like here, this one can give you +1 movement points outside of battle on your units. So that's pretty, substantial upgrade there, along with whatever improvements and stuff like that it unlocks. And then some are totally different. Like some unlock specializations for your units, so lets you like upgrade those units on those upgrade paths for the individual units. You got to like research something to get that in the first place. So not totally novel here, but I like this kind of research where you can kind of pick and choose what you want, but everything feels important. Like everything feels worthwhile. There's not like any bad things to research here. It just depends on what your strategy you're going for. And then finally, we'll look at before we send our hero into battle, we'll look at the hero circle. So this is where we can see our heroes. This poor guy, I got him killed a minute ago before I started this. But for each hero, they have like a biography. They got their own little story. They have traits for them. They have a class that they are. You can give them like a friend from among the other heroes and notables. So if they're close to each other in the game, they get some kind of bonus. A companion, so it's like a soulmate for them. That gives them some kind of bonus by doing that. Eventually, they can get a nemesis who's wronged them. And you might get a bonus for defeating their nemesis and other enemies, which we haven't run into anybody yet, but that's pretty cool. I don't think I've seen that in a 4X before, where your individual heroes, maybe in like the Total War 3 Kingdoms, it might have had something like that. But here, yeah, looks pretty cool. And then we can see, like for this one, her stats, all of her little bonuses that she has, passive and active abilities. You have equipment, so you can find weapon, armor, accessory, and the consumable. And then eventually, it's not in this build, but pets. So each hero can be decked out with some gear. And then the skill tree. So as they level up, you put points in here. So there's different skills you can unlock. Some are passive, some are active. And then you put in stats, which will make those skills that are relevant to that stat go up, plus giving them other benefits. But yeah, so each hero can, even if they're the same class, so there's their skills here are depending on what their class is, what their faction is, and then kind of cool, a little narrow slice that is unique to their faction and class combo gives them like a little slice here of special abilities just for that. So every hero is going to be a little different, can be built out different, given different equipment, and have like their own nemesis. So that's cool. All right, so now let's go ahead and jump into a quick little round of look at the combat so you get a feel for that too. So you can run into enemies just wandering out in the world, but here we're attacking this fortress, which is basically like a dungeon. And if we conquer it, we can either plunder it and get 600 or get like a ton of influence. So this one gives us plus 600, which is quite a lot. Like right now I'm getting 50 per turn. So getting 600 all at once would be really good. Plus some rewards, some money and gear, kind of like random loot that you get. Or we can seize it and turn this fortress immediately into a camp. So like if we were planning on taking this territory anyway, that would save us a step in doing that. But to do so, you got to beat the army that's defending it, which has usually like a boss and a bunch of other units. But like I said, I already attacked this one once, so I already defeated most of the enemies other than the boss. So let's say we want to seize it. And then whenever you fight the battle, you actually fight it on the world map, turns into the battlefield. So just depending on where you're at, that turns into where you're actually fighting the battle, which is cool. If we're fighting just normal battles, you can do instant resolution and it'll show you like which units would die if you did that. So it skips the guessing. You can just decide for yourself, are you willing to like lose one or two of these units to win the battle or not? You can retreat. There's other factors that play into depending on like the terrain and the units involved. But because of this is a dungeon battle, you have to do it manually, which we want to do anyway for this. We'll click that. And then it turns into basically like a basic tactics game where you can move units around with hexes, attack, and then some of them have like special abilities. We're fighting this guy, the tyrant of the fortress, who beat up my whole army before kind of by himself. After my hero died, none of the other units could really do much damage to him because you can see he's got a bunch of skills there. And main thing is he has a lot of armor, so it's kind of hard to hit him. You can see my guys are cool. They got shields that regenerate every turn, and then there's different ways for them to get bonuses to that shield to get a little bit more protection every turn. This guy's the Chosen, so it's like a big battle suit thing, but like I said, I can only have 2 of those in my whole empire right now. And then you get factors like he has the high ground, so you got a bonus to his attack. And then he's inflicted with damage, which makes him do, once you take some hits, like this unit starts doing less damage over time. We can bring our hero in. So she has like a special ability. So she has like this from her consumable. She can heal in an area of effect, but it's like a consumable, so you only do it one time. And then she has this shockwave thing. Let's go ahead and use that. But she can only use that once per battle, and it would do knockback, but this guy couldn't be knocked since he was already blocked over there. But anyway, and then bring in this one, which is another unit that we kind of like. This is not a default to our faction. We pulled it into our army somehow or other. It was a reward for pacifying one of the villages where these snake people lived. So now they're in this army, and they'll bring these guys over. So easy battle here because we were just kind of finishing off the enemy, but it gives you an idea of how the turn-based tactical battles play out whenever one army encounters another. And so yeah, we got a bunch of dust, we got a titanium broadsword and another healing flask, and then this thing increases one of their stats if they have that. So nice. And then we established a camp right here, and so we can see that now that territory turns shaded because we have a camp there, so it's we have like a claim on it. And if we wanted to, we could come up here. So if we would spent 600 influence, we could make this a full-fledged city. But since it's so close to our other one, maybe we'll just attach it. And so we can pick, we want to attach it to Fort Raya, since Garen's Rest, the first city, already has an attachment. We attach it, and so now this whole territory becomes these two combine into one big territory that we now control. And then now we can buy these hexes into our territory by spending more influence on them. That's kind of how you grow your empire and expand into new areas. And that's one way you can do it, by seizing a fortress and taking it. So, all right, so I think I've covered pretty much all the game, not in depth, of course, and doing it in an ugly way. I hate this like string of a city here, but gives you an idea of what you can do in this game. I know I was kind of rambling, trying to cover a lot of stuff in a short amount of time, and I think it still took longer than I thought to just talk through the basics of the game. But yeah, I'm going to do another video later that'll probably be just some gameplay from like early, mid, and late game. This demo only lets you go to 125 turns, so it's kind of limited in scope, but it's a demo, so it's supposed to be. But I'll try to play as the other faction, which is like they're like some kind of cross between automatons and coral or something, much more alien and weird than just human space paladin guys. They're a truly alien race, so I'll try those out in the next one and show you some more gameplay. Yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully you found that useful. I was trying to just cover everything in the game really fast. And so, yeah, see you next time on Example of Play for some more Endless Legend 2 at some point in the future. And then be sure you hit subscribe if you like strategy games in general, cover all kinds of stuff. So thanks for watching. Bye.